All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Kent Smith, a.k.a. Kent the Politician. Zero mulled whiskey, 1 inconvenient Ruth, 12 Foggy, 17 Texas Twister, 22 Tough Love, 23 Sparta, 25 Rex, 227 and Bash Away, 37 Rollin' Rogue, 44 Montucky Lucky, 468 Show Me Your Kitties, 605 Hammer, 619 The Captain Party Crasher. We'll do Ohio at the first break because we're going to run into Derby time here. 954 Tramp Stamp, 91 Shake and Bake, 77 Brutal, 362 Special K. And with that, we're about ready to get underway. Again, we'll give you the Ohio roster at the first break. So again, Montana in black, Ohio in red. Unless we have an All right, so
unless something has drastically changed.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we have no referees on the track, so we'll do Ohio right now. We were looking at the rolling Derby time, and that expired right as we finished Montana. So, Biff, go ahead and give us Ohio.
All right, we'll run through the Ohio roster. Number 0125, Page Bleed. Number 03, Ratchet. Number 10, Family Jewels. Number 101, Terra Hole in You. Number 11, Skankosaurus Lex. Number 111, Slamwise Ganji. Number 1330, Churakia, or 143, Bruta Chris. Number 256, Decrypt. Number 3, Betty TKO. Number 37, Brianna Bruins. Number 4, Coco Sparks. 42, The Indomitus Hex. 45, Halo Chick. 47, Jess Crazy. 607, Gorgeous Curves. 71, Star Platinum. 74, Enemy Lou Harris. Number 77, Maiden Hell. Number 777, Devious Diva. 84, Lexical Dexterity. And 99, Murder Line.
All right, so a number of those skaters actually aren't with Ohio for this particular jam. If you've been following the Ohio throughout the tournament, you know that the jammer rotation has pretty much been Devious Diva, who's currently on the stripe, Star Platinum, 71 of Cincinnati, Murder Line, 99, and Enemy Lou Harris. Murder Line is not rostered for this contest, so it'll be interesting to see how Ohio adjusts their jammer rotation, as they've been a 4-jammer team throughout the tournament. But we're underway.
Yeah, and Sparta with lead jammer status for Team Montana. Devious Diva, the jammer for Ohio, in hot pursuit. Both jammers at very high speed. The pack at very high speed.
Right, pack moving very fast.
And the jammers decide, hey, we're not cool with that right now. So Sparta calls the jam. It is a scoreless first jam, 0-0. 29-26 left in the first period of play.
So Star Platinum coming out for Ohio. And again, so Ohio substituted in Coco Sparks in their last contest against
Fuego
Latino.
Yep.
Latino. Sorry. And so it's Star Platinum underway against Shake and Bake.
Shake and Bake beating a tripod at the front.
Yeah, and Indominus Hex, Page Bleed, Maiden Hell, and Coco Sparks, the blockers for Ohio. Shake and Bake with 1 to beat, and Shake and Bake is through.
As lead jammer. So pack regroups. Star Platinum takes a tumble on the outside line. He just recycled behind the pivot line. Shake and Bake on the first scoring pass picks up the first points of the game for Montana.
Yeah, Montana. Montucky Lucky with the good leverage block there to help spring Shake and Bake for Montana.
So Star Platinum completes the initial pass. That is observed by Shake and Bake. She'll call the jam with 3 additional points for Montana. They take the lead 7-0 after jam number 2.
All right, so Ohio going right to Enemy Lou Harris. So Ohio might be moving to a 3-jammer rotation. Now, my guess is you'll see Coco Sparks rotate in, but Coco just played pivot in that last jam, so she probably wasn't going to go pivot and then jam.
Montana sending Roland Rogue to the jammer line against Enemy Lou Harris. Roland Rogue, having made the most forward progress, beats the full weight and power of the Ohio pack. Enemy Lou Harris bottled up near the jammer line.
Yeah, Tara Holinu locking down with Family Jewels, and I believe that is Paige Bleed holding back the Montana blocker. A Montana jammer. It's my first time I've watched roller derby.
Roland Rogue trying to crowbar apart what's left of the Ohio pack. Multiplayer somehow, even though
right.
One of the Ohio blockers was headed back to the penalty box. But in any case, Roland Rogue is lead jammer for Montana.
Star pass to Family Jewels, who was wearing the pivot stripe. Family Jewels, the captain of Team Ohio.
Family Jewels, a team captain, skates for Athens, Ohio Roller Derby, home of Ohio University. Roland Rogue picks up 3 points. That extends Montana's lead to 10-0.
So Devious Diva wears the star. So again, Ohio going with a 3-jammer rotation, at least at the moment, but that'll be one of the storylines that we watch. Foggy, one of the veterans of the Montana team. I know Foggy, I know some of these skaters just from the state all-star battles that took place in suburban Pennsylvania many years. And Foggy is through. Devious Diva also escapes the pack. Diva has really been outstanding for Ohio. Probably would have earned herself some MVP awards had Ohio been victorious. At some point during the break, Biff, we need to tell people, and looking at, Ohio's basically played the entire front of the bracket, and I'll explain what that means when we look at the pre-tournament rankings. But on that particular jam, Foggy puts up 4, taking the score to 14-1. Diva gets the first Ohio point, 25.5 minutes remaining.
And Montana adding a 5th jammer to the rotation. They bring up Trance Stamp against Star Platinum for Ohio. Star Platinum, a jammer with Cincinnati. Roller Girls. Jam is underway. Star Platinum having made the most, looks like she's made the most forward progress. Get some help around the outside, and Star Platinum is through. Lead jammer. First of the game for Ohio.
And Coco Sparks with the nice push out, but Coco went out also. So that allows Trant Stamp to get back in almost immediately. But yeah, Star Platinum completes a 4-point scoring pass and calls off the jam. Good to see Ohio kind of get their offensive mojo going.
Yeah, Ohio's had some really tough games the first couple days of the tournament. They lost a hard-fought battle to Fuego Latino on Saturday night right here on track number 2. Very tight game up till the end. I mean, and Fuego Latino got a couple big jams right at the end. But again, Ohio has just they faced a very brutal schedule this tournament.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a break so we can detail some of that. But that is Enemy Lou Harris. Ohio's got 2 lead jams in a row. Enemy is flying around the track. Sparta, the jammer for Montana. So Montana actually has at least one other jammer on the roster, and I'll get to that in a second. But Sparta now star in hand. But Enemy Lou pushed out on the inside. Sparta still being locked down by Tara Holinu of Gem City, which is the Dayton team.
Just Crazy pitching in some work on that front as well.
So again, we got to get Enemy Lou through if you're an Ohio fan. Sparta now with an easy pass. Right.
So 4 points for Montana despite not having lead status. Enemy Lou getting drawn back to the jammer line. Sparta on a second scoring pass for Montana here.
Yeah, again, Enemy Lou's got lead jam. And Sparta is not, and Sparta just is the one doing the damage to the scoreboard.
That's a third scoring pass for Sparta. Enemy Lou Harris takes a spill to the outside, calls the jam.
That was a bit of a mystifying jam from an Ohio perspective.
Yeah, but Enemy Lou Harris did somehow get 4 points out of that. That'll make the score 26-9 in favor of Montana.
Yeah, double-digit scoring jam for Montana when they didn't have lead jammer designation is, again, when you got 2 lead jams in a row after starting off 14-1, now 26-9, 22-22 left to play in the first half. This is Devious Diva
against Shake and Bake, the jammer for Montana.
Yeah, so Montana early on doing a 5-jammer rotation. One of the skaters that can jam for them is Texas Twister, number 17. So we'll see if Texas Twister puts on the star at some point. But this is Devious Diva, who, again, from Akron Roller Derby, has really been spectacular for Ohio offensively.
Blimpin' ain't easy.
Sparta pushed out by Slamwise and gorgeous curves. Sicko also out there. Sicko may not have been on your Ohio roster. It wasn't on mine. I've always had to add Sicko, number 916.
Devious Diva able to pick up lead jammer for Ohio.
Yeah. Skankosaurus Lex out there. Skank with a big hit. Devious Diva with the jump gets through the pack. Skankosaurus Lex going to the penalty box. So good jam for Ohio. There's Sicko mode, number 916.
Yeah.
Sicko's had a really good game, a really good tournament in the pack.
Unfortunately, for Ohio, Devious Diva picks up a penalty. And that's going to put Montana on the power jam.
Right.
After the star pass to Special Chaos.
Right, you are, Biff. Yeah, and so Devious Diva sat down with about 32 seconds left on the jam clock. So Diva will be able to escape, and the power jam won't carry over. But again, what was a strong jam for Ohio is going to now be matched in the final seconds, probably point for point, by Montana. So yeah, Special Chaos coming around.
Chaos into the pack. They met by a tripod of Ohio blockers as the jam ends. So 2 additional points for Ohio. 3 additional points for Ohio. That's a 7-6 jam in favor of Ohio despite the power jam. And Coach Andy Marone into the infield to ask some questions of the ref crew. Score stands 32-16, 19:58 left in the first period of play. Coach Marone rushing back to the bench as the jam starts. Roland Rogue jamming for Montana against Star Platinum of Ohio. Roland Rogue having made the most forward progress. That's Maiden Hell locking down the front of the pack for Ohio with the Indomitus Hex.
Yeah, we've got a great view of a referee right now. Roland Rogue is through. Star Platinum pushed out by, among others, Montucky Lucky of Hellgate Roller Derby.
Star Platinum attempting some jammer engagement there as Roland Rogue was circulating on her first scoring pass. Coco Sparks going chest to chest with Roland Rogue at the front of the pack. Tripod of Ohio blockers bounces Roland Rogue out into the ref lane.
Yeah, good job. Good job by the Ohio pack. Ohio missing Lexi Dexy in the pack, Lexical Dexterity, who injured her shoulder in the first bout against Trans Rollers United, and in the first jam against Florida had it dislocated. So, very talented Gem City blocker, not able to, a casualty of the tournament, and Roland Rogue calls it off. So that's going to go 4-0 in favor of Montana. About 18:10 left in the first half.
Foggy to go to the Jammer line against Family Jewels.
So this is the first adjustment in the Ohio Jammer rotation. Family Jewels, the captain, often wears the star, and very talented skater. Just if you don't have that endurance, you might you might regret that taking the star. But yeah, Foggy is through. Family Jewels almost able to escape the pack, falls into turn one. Foggy coming around on first scoring pass attempt. Family Jewels almost able and is now frees herself, but Foggy completes a 4-point scoring pass. Oh yeah, penalty.
Family Jewels picking up, I believe, a forearm penalty, so that's going to put Foggy on the power jam for Montana.
Right.
Ohio with the benefit of a full set of blockers to defend the power jam. Foggy with 4 points in hand on a second scoring pass now. Got to play block in the pack for Team Montana. That's number 22.
Tough Love.
Tough Love from Hellgate Roller Derby. Foggy back around on a third scoring pass now for Montana.
Yeah, Foggy, one of the veteran skaters for Team Montana, who made a splash at the Battle of the All-Stars tournament in suburban Pennsylvania. Montana hadn't participated, and they came into the tournament not well known, not well regarded, and just destroyed people. I think ended up finishing fourth in their first tournament.
But Family Jewels, her penalty is over. Finds a way through the pack.
30 seconds left of jam time.
That is her initial pass.
Right.
The previous attempt was not completed successfully as the jam time's out. So a 12-point jam for Montana. No points for Ohio. They extend their lead to 48-16. And using Reverend Norb's announcer math, that is a 300% difference between Montana and Ohio. Devious Diva to jam against Trent Stamp of Montana. Blockers massing around the Tashmina Torok jammer line.
All right,
jam is underway.
Sorry, yeah, the house call now loud enough that I'm can't hear the person sitting next to me. Devious Diva is through, which is great news for Ohio. I was going to say this is the 10th jam. Ohio's been held scoreless in 5 so far. So it's the Montana defense that's really done a great job.
So Devious Diva on a scoring pass gets through. 4 points for Ohio. 4 much-needed points for Ohio. Trent Stamp approaching on her on a scoring pass as Devious Diva circulates around for a second set of 4 points. Met by a tripod of Montana blockers. She finds a way through. That's an 8-0 jam for Ohio.
Yeah, really strong, again, by Devious Diva. Combination of speed and strength. And right there, like, for example, able to absorb the hit and not go out of bounds. But, yeah, again, the
Trent Stamp feeling the effects of that first scoring pass. Devious Diva calls the jam.
Yep. We'll see if any additional points go up. 2 more go up, so that's a double-digit scoring jam for Ohio.
Biggest jam of the game so far for Ohio.
We're about 14:20 left in the first half. You're watching Montana in black, Ohio in red.
Star Platinum back to the jammer line for Ohio. And Sparta the jammer for Montana. Jam is underway. Sparta quickly around the outside gains lead status for Montana. Star Platinum drawn back into turn 4 as Sparta starts a scoring pass. Sparta has Coco Sparks to beat. Does so. That's 4 points for Montana.
Star Platinum still held up in the pack on the initial pass. Sparta coming around on scoring pass number 2. Up on her toes tops again, runs into Coco Sparks.
Coco Sparks making it her personal mission to contain Sparta. But Sparta's around starting a third scoring pass. Star Platinum has completed her initial.
And who knocked out Sparta that time, Biff?
That time it was Coco Sparks.
Yep. Yeah, Coco.
Three
again,
more points for Montana, but Star Flatinum able to sneak through and get one
that is
for
the,
Ohio.
That is the third double-digit scoring jam for for Montana, and Sparta's got two of them. Sparta jammed initially, was the first jammer when we saw the race between her and Diva, then wound up with a 0-0. And since then, two double-digit scoring jams. Shake and Bake now against enemy Lou Harris.
Pack moving glacially away from the jammer line. Shake and Bake made the most forward progress, but enemy Lou Harris did not quite make it through without
she
putting a skate out of bounds.
Yeah, she toe stopped on the inside. It would have been a track cut, so she was wise to get back.
But two blockers at the front for Ohio. It's Paige Bleed and
Tara Hole-in-You.
Tara Hole-in-You trying to contain Shake and Bake. And Shake and Bake finally through after about 40 seconds, picking up lead for Montana.
Yep. And enemy Lou escapes the pack, but Shake and Bake is headed into the Ohio defenders for the first scoring pass, for her first scoring pass. And the call off by Shake and Bake. 4-0, right?
Yeah,
2-0.
Yeah, I don't think Shake and Bake, she did not get all the way around the Ohio pack.
Yeah, you're correct.
So the score stands at 65-27. 11:33 left in the first period of play. Devious Diva back to the jammer line against Foggy. Jam is underway. Devious Diva keeping the skates moving. And Devious Diva finds a seam, gets through. It is lead jammer for Ohio.
Foggy also escapes with Diva with about a 1/3 of a track advantage, and Diva's flying, setting up, able to harvest some points. Pushed out, called off. So I think that's going to go a 3-0 or something close to it. 4.
So Devious Diva collecting all 4. Keeping Ohio in the game here. It's 65-31. Still plenty of derby to play. 10:35 left in the first period.
So Star Platinum and what we think. It's Rolling Rogue.
Rolling Rogue meeting a full set of Ohio blockers at the front of the pack. Got one Montana blocker in there trying to break things up for Rolling Rogue. Star Platinum contained at the rear. Everybody stopped at the pivot line. Got some offense coming in for Montana at the front of the pack. Montana confident they can contain Star Platinum with 3 blockers.
Yeah,
Rolling Rogue sent to the infield. Drawn back very well by number 111. That is Slamwise Ganji
Slamwise
of Gem City. Rolling Rogue regroups.
Yeah, neither jammer's been able to make it to the back straightaway. We're 50 seconds in, and then Star Platinum able to come through. Took her 55 seconds to get there, but Star Platinum is the lead jammer. And again, Coco Sparks doing damage to Montana blockers. Oh, Star Platinum, nice job staying in bounds. Now trying to harvest points.
Montana setting up a tripod at the rear, led by number 44. That is Montucky Lucky.
Rex also out there in the pack for Montana, as is 77 Brutal. 619, the other skater out there, that is Party Crasher. So yeah, the Ohio pack comprised of Indonymous Hex and other people at Coco Sparks and other people I can't see because they're a half track away from me. All right, so we're almost out of jam time. 10 seconds left on jam time. Star Platinum pushed out. Montana loses a blocker. Star calls it off from the infield.
Yes. But that is
3
for Ohio. Yeah. Montana did not complete the initial pass. Great work put in there by Ohio's blockers. And that's going to bring enemy Lou Harris back to the jammer line for Ohio against Transstamp. Transstamp from the Copper City Queens for Team Montana.
So it looks like it is a 4-on-3 pack. Advantage Ohio. Enemy Lou Harris won the MVP for Ohio in the first bout that they had against Trans Rollers United. She and Devious Diva have been very strong wearing the star. And again, just like the last jam, nobody's even getting into turn 2 at this point.
Yeah, it's blockers on lockdown mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Ohio loses a blocker to the penalty box. That's number 101, Tara Holin-Yu. So 2 blockers left at the front of the pack for Ohio.
Yeah.
And Ohio, Transstamp picks up the track cut penalty. That's going to put Ohio on the power jam.
Yeah.
If enemy Lou Harris can escape the pack.
And
she does. Lead jam to enemy Lou Harris.
So again, just like the Star Flatner jam, it took her 55 seconds to get there, but secures lead jam. Difference this time, no Montana jammer on the track, so it is a power jam opportunity for the veteran jammer of Burning River, and calls it off before the Montana jammer is standing. So that's going to send Devious Diva out with a power jam start. Diva very fast, so a little bit of strategy there. Get the 4 points and then try to, get fresh legs out there. Because again, the last 2 Ohio jammers, again, both of them took 55 seconds just to get through that brutal pack.
Lots of hard work the last 2 jams. So we've got just about a full set of blockers mounted at the pivot line. Devious Diva.
Ohio I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Devious Diva with the jammer star and now lead jammer status for Ohio.
And that's coming off a 10-0 run, so a little bit of a mini rally there. Ohio may have figured out their defense.
So Devious Diva on a first scoring pass. Transstamp penalty has expired. That's 4 points for Devious Diva. Transstamp yet to complete the initial pass. Star has been passed to Sparta for Team Montana.
Yeah, Sparta, one of the veteran jammers, so that's not an unusual move.
And Devious Diva completes a second scoring pass for Ohio.
Interesting, the pack speeding up.
A little bit of old school derby. Sparta into the pack on a scoring pass now, as Devious Diva coming around for a third scoring pass for Ohio. And Devious Diva is through. 12 points on this jam for Ohio. 4 now for Sparta.
Yeah, so Diva might be trying to hit it one more time to then call it off, because now she has the positional advantage.
Devious
nice.
Diva. Spin around the outside.
Threw it into reverse and kept going at full speed.
Full speed J-turn there by Devious Diva. And that completes a 16-point jam for Ohio, their biggest jam of the game. And that might be a candidate for the Cutchies Jam of the game for Ohio.
Diva's got both. Oh, and a timeout taken. I'm going to throw it to you while I'm going to look through my notes so I can be able to give you the discussion about the initial rankings.
Yes. So this clock stoppage brought to you by 888 and 187 Killer Pads. As with all clock stoppages in this tournament, I'd like to thank the Gillespie Group. Gillespie Group specializes in the management, development, and reimagination of residential and commercial real estate properties. They credit quality people, a relentless creative spirit, and a passion for reinvention in their ability to leave a lasting impact on Michigan's landscape. So Montana with the team timeout. And while Kent is gathering notes, Ohio came into this tournament ranked number 22 of the 24 teams. Montana enters ranked number 7. This game is for 15th place. So Ohio still with a chance to come out of this with an improved ranking. And I'll let Kent describe.
We'll do it at the next break. because it took me that long to find my information. But that is Foggy, again, the veteran Montana jammer. This is the closest it's been since about the 22-minute mark of the first half. So Star Platinum out there for Ohio. Foggy is lead jammer for Montana.
Hear lots of squeaking wheels in the pack. Star Platinum puts the star in hand, is met chest to chest by number 362 for Montana.
Star gets through. So that is the initial pass for the Ohio jammer and the call off by Foggy. So how four earned by Foggy. So a 20-point margin.
So Montana leading 73-53. Ohio sending Family Jewels back to the jammer line against Sparta.
About 3.5 minutes left in the first half. So yeah, this is the second time Family Jewels has jammed.
Family Jewels, a skater with Athens, Ohio Roller Derby, home of Ohio University, and Family Jewels representing the Bobcats well, picking up lead status for Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio's pack, Paige Bleed, Tara Holinew, Sicko Mode, and Jess Crazy doing a really nice job against Sparta. Pack very tight at the moment. Family Jewels trying to do almost a star pass. There was a fake out. Sicko Mode and Tara Holinew staying with Sparta. And Tara Holinew able to get the push out. So rolling back, Sparta.
The big drawback.
And Family Jewels completes the 4-point scoring pass, but wasn't able to escape the pack. She got by everybody, but obviously still has to fight through the pack to try to turn a 4-point pass into a 8-point pass.
So Sparta regroups.
And Sparta, Family Jewels calls it off.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to get 4. Yep.
And so we're back to a 16-point game. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the first period. Very fast-moving period of play here. Montana leading by 73-57.
Yep, under 2 minutes to play. So we'll obviously get one more jam in. Devious Diva lining up for Ohio. Devious Diva has both of the double-digit scoring jams for Ohio and has tallied points every time she's worn the star. So again, another really exceptional bout for Diva thus far.
And Foggy, the jammer for Team Montana. Devious Diva gets through, picks up lead.
Yeah, so Biff, it's interesting. Montana has shortened their jammer rotation. You're seeing a lot of Foggy and a lot of Sparta right now.
Yes.
And frankly, that's a smart move.
Devious Diva exploring every inch of the track, inside, outside, collecting 4 points for Ohio.
Minute left on the period clock, 1:26 on the jam clock, and Foggy just now escapes. That is the initial pass.
Devious Diva on a second scoring pass for Ohio as Foggy approaches. Discretion being the better part of valor, the jam is called.
Yep. Yeah, pushed out on the outside, was going to have to cycle back for a while. Gets 7 points. So again, we're under single digits, Biff.
Yeah, we are.
At one point, it was 48-16 at about the 16-minute mark. So Ohio has rallied.
So Ohio?
In fact, they have not been held scoreless. They've only been held scoreless twice in the second half of the first half, whereas they were held scoreless 5 times in the first 15 minutes.
So Ohio with a slight pack advantage here, maybe 4-on-3. Star Platinum with the jammer star for Ohio against Shake and Bake of Montana. Shake and Bake gets through, picks up lead. We are in jam time only
and Star
at this
gets
point.
Through.
Star,
nice job.
Yep. So pack sets up in turns 1 and 2. Shake and Bake into the pack. Met by the forearm of Coco Sparks, forcing a call of the jam. Yeah, I don't think Star Platinum got any points out of that.
Yeah, but Coco again holds it. Oh, official review being requested by Coach Marone. So we might get bonus roller derby action depending on the outcome of this. But again, who was the skater who was the Ohio blocker who was able to key in?
Coco Sparks.
Coco Sparks keeps that from being a 4-point pass to a 3-point pass and forces the call off because Starr had escaped. So yeah, Coco Sparks.
So, yeah.
So again, there was a clear change because again, Biff, at the 16-minute mark, it's 48-16. Ohio had been held scoreless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the first jam. Montana had already put up 2 double-digit scoring jams. Since that time, again, it goes 28 for Montana and 48 for Ohio, if my math's correct. There's no reason to believe it is, by the way. But that takes us to 76-64.
It's good enough for Sunday morning at a derby tournament.
All right, so we're going to take the danger in if we take a break is we're in the middle of an official review, and if we come back from the official review and there's roller derby action, so we're not going to sign off yet.
Yes.
Because you might miss something. So let me tell you about the Ohio trip through the Star Wars rankings. So if I were to tell you, Ohio, that you're going to play the front half of the bracket. So Ohio comes in ranked as 22. They first play Trans Rollers United, ranked 12. They then play California, ranked 6. They then play Florida, ranked 4. They then play Fuego Latino, ranked 2. Now they're playing Montana, ranked 7. And you won one of those, but you were in all of them.
That they were. I mean, it's, Ohio comes out, still coming through all that with a chance to improve on that ranking coming in.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, this is the 15-16.
That's correct,
based on rankings.
Right you are, Ken.
Thank you very much. But, again, show me the other team in any bracket that has played that all 5 of your games have been a top 12 opponent. And frankly, you've played 4 of the top 7.
Yes.
And nobody's had a rougher time through the tournament. And again, Ohio has held its own, has played very, very well, was in every bout thus far. And again, yes, right now, the Zebras are zebraing to adjudicate the now 3-minute official review. We would throw it to intermission break, but the opportunity for additional derby
lies
before us.
Yeah.
So again,
we might be close to a verdict. We have a referee discussing with captains and coaches. Andy Marone, the veteran coach, knows he can't take these official reviews with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you continue to do this? Let me go out there.
Okay. So in the meantime, we'll get a sponsor read in here. Happy is our penalty box sponsor. Penalty box sponsored by Happy Coffee. It is expertly blended and slow roasted for more complex notes, char-free taste, and ultimately smoothness. Now that's Happy. Happy is proud to partner with NAMI, the largest grassroots mental health organization in the United States. For more information, please visit nami.org or happyproducts.com/NAMI. Okay. I heard the tail end of it. But whatever they were seeking, the no-call stands.
Yeah, so Ohio, and again, the deliberations continue, but it has been announced in the venue that Ohio is looking for a contact on a down skater, and I don't think the referee crew is going to award that penalty, but again, the conversations are continuing. So I suppose we are headed to halftime because I don't think that's going to get you an additional jam.
Probably not.
But it might get an additional penalty on a Montana skater. Depending on how egregious it is, it might earn an ejection. But
right.
again, we're not. That's just
Right.
wild speculation. But that's what we're known for.
Hey,
Just kidding.
that's all we can do sometimes.
That's all we can provide. And again, the discussions continue. So, yeah, halftime has yet to start.
So
this delay in the action, this pause in the bout, is brought to you by 888 and 187 Killer Pads. Could also be brought to you by the Lansing Sports Commission for helping to support Skate Wars here in the lovely city of Lansing. All right, it appears it is over, and with that whistle,
we have intermission.
Intermission begins.
Okay.
So you've gotten the story of the Ohio's. I'm glad we were able to cover that during the 5-minute break. But at this point, we're going to take a little bit of a break.
can't trust him.
Yeah, so that became one of my rants in the last game. Damn it, Jersey or New Jersey?
I'm guessing there's a lot of these teams that have kind of gone through the whole rebranding problem.
Right you are, Biff. All right, so I'm Kent Smith, a.k.a. Kent the Politician, watching Ohio in red and Montana in black. We will reconvene for the second half of the legislative session in 30 seconds or so.
I'm Biff Mix-a-Lot. And
right
we are returning to a game that is very close, 12-point margin at halftime. Montana 76, Ohio 64.
Yeah, with like 11 minutes to go, it was 65-27 in favor of Montana. And since that time, it went 37-11 in favor of Ohio to make it what is now a 12-point bout.
So blockers massed around the jam line. We have crouching blockers, hidden jammers from our vantage point. But it will be Foggy for Montana, jamming against Devious Diva of Ohio. Foggy, first to pick up lead status for Montana.
Yeah, this is the first time Devious Diva hasn't sprung into lead jammer position.
So Montana with the pack advantage to start. Foggy is through with lead and 4 points in hand. And the pack hits the gas pedal.
Yeah,
Foggy trying to go jammer to jammer against Devious Diva. She will call the jam as both jammers approach the pack. First points of the second half go to Team Montana. 5-0, excuse me. Foggy able to pick off one Ohio blocker before the jam was called. So 5-0.
Yeah, so that's the first time Diva hasn't scored since the 0-0 jam that we had that started the contest. Oh, additional point for Montana, 81-64. Sparta now against Star Platinum. Again, Ohio was a 4-jammer rotation for the entire tournament until today. They're a 3-jammer rotation now with Family Jewels jumping in.
Sparta picks up lead. Star Platinum out of the pack now for Ohio. Montana started with 5 jammers and has kind of whittled that down to 3. Sparta quickly through the pack, calls the jam as Star Platinum approaches. 4-0 to Montana. They extend their lead to 85-64.
And again, this was how the first half got underway. Montana, was able to execute their offense early. Ohio was actually held scoreless through the first 3 jams of the contest. Now we've got enemy Lou Harris lined up with a double-digit jammer. That is Rolling Rogue.
So a forearm penalty maybe somewhere in the pack. I hear whistles.
Yeah, Tara Holinew goes to the penalty box. Oh. Rolling Rogue going up against Family Jewels and Paige Bleed. Family Jewels, the team captain, who's worn the star twice in the first half.
And Rolling Rogue strings the pack out to its breaking point and picks up lead status for Montana. 3 jams in a row. Montana's gained lead.
Enemy fakes left, fakes right, able to escape the pack. The problem for Ohio now is they've had 2 blockers in the penalty box, and that dictates the call-off by Rolling Rogue because Enemy was putting pressure on a score.
So Montana with 13 unanswered points to start the second half extends their lead 89-64. 26-40 left in the game. Foggy back to the jammer line against Devious Diva.
And again, through about the first for the first 20 minutes, Montana had about a 5-jammer rotation, and Ohio was keeping with a 3. Montana's tightened up their jammer rotation yet. Obviously, we'll see as the second half unfolds.
Devious Diva takes a fall at the rear of the pack. Foggy splits what's left of the Ohio pack to pick up lead status for Montana. 4 jams in a row for Montana to start the second half. And Devious Diva finally escapes the pack.
Yeah, Diva can weave her way through the pack. When the pack is bunched up, arms locked, making a wall, that's hard. Now she can then leverage her way around it, but right there we saw that the 4 Montana blockers all were ahead of her, and she just peeled them all off just by skating left, getting them to move, skating right, skating left, and was able to weave her way through, and again, put pressure on the Montana blocker, force the call off, only 4-0 for Montana. So again, Ohio scoreless. We're entering the 5th jam of the second half, but no giant score jump so far for Montana.
Sparta quickly out, gaining lead for Montana, jamming against Star Platinum of Ohio. Star Platinum still stuck on her initial pass.
Yep.
One blocker to be at the front. She takes a tumble to the infield. Hit dished out by Montucky Lucky for Montana. And Sparta is through, 4 points in hand.
And Star with 1 to beat at this point. So again, Ohio Jammers doing a decent job of putting pressure.
Sparta shrugging off Coco Sparks. And Star Platinum completes an initial pass.
Rex going to the penalty box for Montana. So it'll be a 4-on-3 start in favor of Ohio once we get underway. So yeah, that's the biggest jam so far for Montana, with that 7 and Ohio yet to score. So we're scoreless through 5, and the margin has gone from 76-64 to 164.
So Montana first to the century mark. They'll send Shake and Bake to the jammer line against Enemy Lou Harris, And Enemy Lou Harris powers through. First lead jam of the half for Ohio.
And again, Montana's got 2 blockers in the penalty box, and the Star's been passed to 17 for Montana.
That is Texas Twister.
And again, Texas Twister is the one member of the Montana team that has jammed but hadn't jammed yet. Good push out by Paige Bleed and Tara Holinew. And Enemy Lou Harris gets through, I think that
is 4 points.
She gets 3.
Oh, she got 4 out of that. And somehow Texas...
No, I was looking at Montana. You were looking at Ohio. Again, Texas Twister, first time she takes the Star, able to act like a jammer because she'd been a jammer previously in this tournament. But good job by Enemy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ohio picking up their first points of the half. That brings Devious Diva back to the jammer line here in jam number 7 of period number 2. And Devious Diva wasting no time to exploit Ohio's pack advantage. Lead jammer for Ohio. Foggy takes a tumble. Managed to complete the initial pass. Devious Diva into the pack. Powers around the outside. Powers through a Montana blocker. That's 4 points for Ohio. Foggy into the pack as well for Montana.
Wow.
Completing a scoring pass.
Both of these jammers at a high rate of speed and are taking the hit and still going on.
So Foggy on a second scoring pass. Devious Diva on a third.
I mean, so right there, like Foggy ran into the back of the Ohio wall, found daylight through the inside. By the time the Ohio blockers recovered to try to take out Foggy on the inside line, she was already gone.
So
but again, more. Really strong jam.
2 more points there for Devious Diva.
Yep.
10-8 on the jam in favor of Ohio. Score stands 111 to 78.
All right, so again, it took Ohio a while to find their offense in the first half, taking them a while to find their offense in the second half.
Sparta jamming against Star Platinum. Each team with a full set of blockers and skaters on the track. And Sparta narrowly gets through. Lead jammer for Montana.
Yeah, Star with 1 to beat. Montucky Lucky Easier said than done. Oh, Tara hole in you.
Oh, big hit by Tara hole in you there.
Oh, boy.
Didn't quite get Star Flattenham out of the pack, though.
Right. Which was the goal of the hit, was try to get Star out.
Yeah, and both
is
jammers
now
out.
Yep.
Sparta with 4 points. And Pack accelerates a bit, comes to a stop between the benches. Sparta in, through, calls the jam. How many points did she get?
Nobody gets any points on that second pass.
No points for them.
I was very interested to see if any points were awarded and if either jammer is going to the ref crew consistent at least in not awarding either. Family Jewels looks like we'll be back on the jammer line. This will be the second time Family Jewels jams for Ohio. Third time in the contest. First time in the second half. First time Trant Stamp has jammed for Montana. In the second half, she has jammed, and Family Jewels gets lead jam. So we've been able to get lead jam 3 out of the last 4 jams,
Yeah,
Biff.
indeed. Right you are, Ken. Trant Stamp hands off the jammer star to number 17 for Montana. Texas Twister. And Texas Twister drawn back and reabsorbed into the pack while Family Jewels is on a first scoring pass.
And
Family
again,
Jewels splits what's left of the pack, picks up 4 points. Texas Twister still stuck in the pack.
Montana loses a blocker. That's Inconvenient Ruth. And Family Jewels with a nice pass through the pack. Ohio a little more tuned in to Texas Twister on this jam. So, 8-0 on that jam. And again, Ohio was down 100-64 just 5 minutes ago. Now 115-86.
And that 8-0 jam comes at a great time for Ohio. I mean, it was teetering on to the point where Montana might be trying to get away from this game a little bit, but Ohio just clawing their way right back in. 8-0 jam. And that brings Devious Diva to the jammer line against Foggy. And Devious Diva gains lead for Ohio. Foggy setting off in pursuit. Blockers reorganizing in turn 1 and 2. Great seal off. 1 blocker to beat for Devious Diva. She does so. 4.40 so far for Ohio.
Sicko mode locking down on Foggy. Also out there, Skankosaurus Lex, Slamwise, and Gorgeous Curves.
And another fairly easy pass for Devious Diva. 8-0 on the jam.
4 points now for Foggy, so Diva's going for 12. We'll see if she tries to call it after this. Goes to the outside, tries to make the pass, pushed out, and calls it off. So we'll see. Yeah, so that's going to go 10-4. And Ohio's crawling back into this, Biff.
So we have a 23-point game with 18 minutes to play in Ohio. 18-4 over the last 2 jams.
Under 18 minutes to play. Looks like it'll be Sparta versus Star Platinum once we get underway. Nobody in the penalty box, so full complement of skaters, jammers, blockers, and referees, and more importantly, announcers.
Both house and stream.
That's right. Star with, almost had one to, and Star Platinum gets through. Again, Ohio putting, I want to say in the last 5 jams, in the last 6 jams, we've gotten lead jam 5 times.
Star Platinum on a first scoring pass. Almost had a path to the outside, but Star Platinum tried to complete a first scoring pass. Sparta has circulated around as well.
So Star gets through. Sparta still held up in the pack. The fire marshals have a complaint about how dense that pack is right now. Very tight. A lot of people, my point.
So now the blockers are locking down. Star Platinum.
Oh, nice job by Star.
But
she's gotten hits back. So I think she has points in the pocket, even though she's stuck behind this wall of Montana defenders. Down goes Sparta. Again, you've got Page Bleed. You've got Indominus Hex. You've got Coco Sparks and somebody else. That is Maiden Hell. Those are the combatants in the Ohio pack. All right. So, yeah, Sparta is through. Now you want to get Star Platinum through.
And Star Platinum circulates the inside, calls the jam as Sparta approaches.
3.
So 7-4, another points gain for Ohio.
We cross the 16-minute mark. Again, you're watching Ohio in red, Montana in black. This is the 15-16 bout on Championship Sunday.
Enemy Lou Harris to the jammer line against Roland Rogue. Jam is underway.
Montana has led throughout the contest, but Ohio has started slow in each of the first half and the second half, but then has always closed, and that's what we're watching right now. Is the margin is down to 20 with 15 minutes still to play.
So both of these teams have the opposite jammers surrounded.
Right.
Roland Rogue has made the most forward progress of the jammers. Ohio loses Terre Haute and U.
Now they lost Family Jewels. Terre Haute and U still there.
That's,
and
excuse
Enemy
me.
Lou Harris comes through again. 6 out of the last 7 jams. Ohio ends up getting lead.
Terre Haute and U and Paige Bleed putting in the work
right
to free up Enemy Lou Harris. Enemy Lou Harris takes a hit, has to recycle.
Ohio loses another blocker, so Enemy finds daylight and will call it off right there. So we'll see how many points Enemy Lou gets. 3-0.
And Ohio chipping away ever so slightly at Montana's lead. It's now a 17-point game with 14-19 left in the game.
Foggy and Devious Diva with both teams full of blockers in the penalty box. So it's a couple skate out there right now.
Yeah.
2 blockers for each team. And both of these jammers very fast. Foggy gets through the line first. I'm sorry.
No, that's Devious Diva.
Gets through the line first. Foggy still held up.
And both jammers, if they get out, will get the benefit of some free and open spaces with blockers in the penalty box. Devious Diva on a scoring pass. Foggy has completed her initial. And Ohio losing a blocker. That's gorgeous curves to the penalty box.
Yeah.
Devious Diva through, calls the jam as Foggy approaches. So another 4-0 jam for Ohio.
And timeout being taken by Montana.
And that is with the score at Montana 123, Ohio 110. This stoppage in play brought to you, as always, by 888 and 187 Killer Pads, one of the great sponsors of roller derby of all kinds. We want to thank Sacred Roller Skate Supply. Sacred Roller Skate Supply is your source for high-quality skates and gear, custom builds, and community engagement. Queer-owned and operated since 2021, Sacred brings not only a passion for maintaining a supportive environment for skaters of all levels and identities, but also providing industry-leading brands and knowledge to support a safe skating lifestyle. Whether it's roller derby, park skating, rink, or recreational, Sacred will have you covered.
So again, 16 minutes into this, it's 48-16. Since then, Ohio's been up 94-75. So again, Montana got off to a very fast start in the first half, very fast start in the second half, but Ohio has closed in the final 20 minutes of both halves. Now only a 13-point game, and the original captain of the Ohio All-Stars, Coco Sparks, jamming and for the first time and gets lead jammer for Ohio.
So Coco Sparks putting in great shifts as a blocker and now as a relief jammer. Gains lead, picks up 4 points for Ohio, coming out of the Team Montana timeout.
And again, this is the first time Coco would jam. She was She was worked into the rotation.
Coco Sparks completes the second pass, calls the jam, 8-0 to Ohio. This is now a 5-point game.
Yeah, Ohio's on a 15-0 run over the last 4 jams. Those of you who turned on an NFL game might want to tune back in.
Yes. Do we know if Sherrod Brown and John Tester have a friendly wager riding on the outcome of this game? So an official timeout requested by Ohio.
So again, obviously we'll try to find out what this is about, but this, I mean, it could be just a way to get some, get some more air in the lungs of the Ohio skaters.
Yes.
I didn't see anything particularly controversial in the last jam, and again, Ohio's gotten lead jam in 6 of the last 7.
Yeah.
And there's one Montana skater in the penalty box, so I mean, so perhaps Coach Andy Marone wants to assert that pineapple is an appropriate topping for pizza. Who knows? But it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So let's cover that right now. But you've expended a lot of energy, and you've got a short jammer rotation. So again, not to say that Coach Marone is not advocating for a position he holds near and dear, but he's sitting on all 4 of his, 3 timeouts.
Correct.
And the official review. And he's got a smaller jammer rotation than the other team.
And there is a 50-50 chance he will retain the official review.
Well, maybe not 50-50.
Right.
Depending on, again, the issue that is being adjudicated.
Yes.
But, again, what I would say, this is a smart strategic move, win or lose.
Right.
And, again, if you think you've got something to argue about that could be beneficial, make your case, because your team needs to catch its breath anyway.
Right.
That being said, the penalty box is sponsored by Happy Coffee. It's expertly blended Biff and slow roasted for more complex notes.
Okay.
I don't know what a note tastes like.
Well,
but it is a char-free taste with ultimate smoothness. Now that's Happy. Happy is also a proud partner with NAMI, the largest grassroots mental health organization in the United States. For more information, you can visit NAMI.org, which is NAMI.org, or happyproducts.com/NAMI. Let's also thank the Giuseppe Group that specializes in the management, development, and reimagination of residential and commercial real estate properties. They credit quality people, a relentless creative spirit, and a passion for reinvention in their ability to leave a lasting impact on the Michigan landscape.
Okay, so all that said, looks like the officials have decided whatever they've decided, and they are relaying their verdict to. We do not have the benefit of Dan Llewellyn from People's Court to give us the verdict.
Referee is making a variety
lots of hand
gestures.
Signals involved.
That's right.
Yeah.
I used to have a spyglass. I keep forgetting to bring it
Ah.
because I used to be able to spyglass my way into these referee huddles.
And I don't know if I just saw a fist pump from Andy Marone.
Well, no one is entering the penalty box at this point, and I don't think the numbers have changed on the scoreboard. So, but what we did get is 3 minutes and 45 seconds of rest for Enemy Lou Harris, Devious Diva, Star Platinum, and anybody else who's going to be wearing the star for Ohio.
I think the official review is pending, and that's all I'm going to say. I learned that a long time ago.
And the house announcers are not giving us any information that might be helpful. So unfortunately, we have nothing to pass on.
All right, that's all the information we're going to get.
Devious Divas coming back out to jam, and Enemy Lou Harris comes off. So again, with a 4-minute delay, you just adjusted your jammer rotation a little bit.
So Sparta to go now against Devious Diva. Ohio with a 4-on-3 blocker advantage to start this jam. Devious Diva forced into the referee lane, but
So-
Sparta being contained by a full set of Ohio blockers.
And Ohio retains their review. So again, we're not sure what happened, but that has been recently announced. Nonetheless, here in the on the oval ahead of us, you see Devious Diva getting locked down. You see Sparta pushing Foggy, tear a hole in you. I'm sorry, not Foggy is pushing Sicko Mode, tear a hole in you, and Page Bleed. Devious Diva not having any luck against the Montana blockers, and this will end the lead jammer streak that Ohio had gotten on. And Devious Diva again still trying to just escape the pack. Foggy Sparta coming around on their first scoring pass.
So Sparta having a tough time finding a path through. Devious Diva with star in hand.
Apparently, Devious Diva is human. We're witnessing it now. Sparta is through. 4 points on the board, and the star now passed. Good strategy to Page Bleed. So again, that might help.
That might shorten this jam a little bit.
And it works. The
Yeah.
call off was getting close. So, I think she's going to get more than 4. Waiting for additional points. Yeah, discussion right there.
Yes.
And an additional 3.
So a 7-0 jam for Montana. Their lead is back to double digits with that jam. Foggy to jam now against Enemy Lou Harris of Ohio. Jam is underway. Foggy pushing the blocking sled at the front for Montana. But Ohio with a full set of blockers to lock her down. Enemy Lou Harris stuck at the rear of the pack. See some whistles. And Foggy out of the pack with lead status for Montana.
Wow, that was close. Star pass to Skankosaurus Lex, the veteran of Ohio Valley Roller Derby, was a member of the very first Ohio All-Star team, was kind of all-world skater for Ohio Valley. But yeah, we have crossed the 10-minute mark. We're at 9.5 minutes.
So
Sicko
Ohio
mode
losing
goes to the penalty box. So
sicko
Ohio,
mode. Yep.
Ohio is losing blockers. They've got 2 in the box.
And Foggy is out, having completed a scoring pass.
Skank almost escapes. Skank does escape for Ohio. So again, after the timeout, we've seen some very effective offensive play for Montana. They've put up back-to-back 8-point jam, well, a 7 and an 8.
So 15 points coming out of that timeout for Montana. So they lead now 138 to 118, 8:40 left in the game. Star Platinum to jam for Ohio against Trans Stamp. And Ohio with 1 blocker in the penalty box. That's sicko mode. They're going to be down a blocker to start the jam. Jam is underway.
Sicko mode standing, and sicko mode re-enters now, so both teams at full strength. Coco Sparks wearing the star if a pivot pass is needed. Star Platinum, well, nobody's into turn 2 yet. Tear a hole in you, just an exceptionally strong day as a blocker for Ohio. Same could be said for Coco Sparks.
Montana Lowe's, show me your kitties. Star Platinum is lead jammer for Ohio. Montana down a blocker now. Montana leading 142-118. We are under 8 minutes to play in the game. Star Platinum with lead and on a scoring pass for Ohio. Trans Stamp yet to complete their initial pass. And Star Platinum calls the jam.
3 for Star. Timeout. Timeout taken by Ohio, if I'm reading the referee signals correctly. And again, they still have 4 time,
Right.
clock stoppages.
Right.
So down by 21, 142 to 121. 7. Oh wait, they had taken a timeout, but the clock was still rolling. So now they've stopped the clock at 7:02. I'm not sure if any time will be put back onto the clock. But yeah, this clock stoppage, this pause in the bout, brought to you by 888 and 187 Killer Pads. We'd also like to thank Jay, the owner of Skatin' Not Hatin', who's had his shop since 2011 and began working with apparel and jerseys in 2022. Also thank Tom's Food Center, founded in 1982. It's always been the goal at Tom's to have more for you, our customer. We're always on the lookout for new ways to serve you better and provide you great values and save you money. All right, so coming out of the last timeout, we saw Montana go 15-0. Ohio just got a 3-0. But again, what was a 5-point bout at the 12:18 mark is now a 21-point bout. Devious Diva and Sparta wearing the respective stars for their teams, and we are underway.
And each team with a full set of blockers to start. Sparta making the most forward progress. Devious Diva drawn back to turn 4. Sparta gets out and gains lead for Montana. Devious Diva still caught in the rear of the pack. Devious Diva shrugs off a block, gets through.
Diva is through. Sparta on her scoring pass. Go ahead.
As Sparta locked down in the pack, spins to the inside, calls the jam. Did she get the full set of 4 points?
She's awarded.
We will find out. And she did. 4-0 to Montana. They lead now 146 to 121. 6:37 left in the game.
So, all right, yeah, 142. Yep. 6.5 minutes to play. Ohio sitting on 3 clock stoppages, and they're going to need points and time. So I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Marone starts using timeouts after maybe not every jam, but certainly no reason to take them with you. This is Enemy Lou Harris jamming. No, it's Enemy Lou Harris going up against Foggy. And again, Foggy and Sparta have been the jamming combination for Montana, and Foggy is through. Enemy Lou Harris with the 1 to beat, and now more Montana defenders come. Enemy is through.
Enemy avoiding that big hit from Brutal.
And the call-off. 4-0. Coach Marone uses a timeout.
Yes, and once again. And Coach Marone knows he can't take them with him, so timeout by Ohio with the score at 149 to 121 with 5:25 left in the game.
So yeah, 28 points, the margin. All right, so 5:27 on the clock. They just adjusted the clock. Ohio's got, I believe, again, the official review in 1 timeout left, so 2 clock stoppages available. And again, Ohio playing. Ohio has played 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 of the top 12 teams based on the early ranking, and they've won 1 and been in every one of the other ones.
Yes.
This is Montana coming into this tournament ranked 7. Ohio will have played 4 of the top 7 teams, and it was not an easy victory for any of the Ohio opponents, but Ohio has yet to prevail.
Right.
So it's going to take, we're not quite in miracle status yet, but it's going to have to take some dramatic swings of momentum.
Yes. So Star Platinum to jam against Sparta. 5:20 remaining. Sparta sent to the infield by Ohio and drawn back.
A sicko mode with that last line of defense, and it does it again against Sparta. But Sparta is through. Took her 21 seconds to get there. Star Platinum with 1 to beat. It is the pivot. That is Texas Twister. Now gets swallowed up as more defenders come to slow her down.
Star Platinum still on an initial pass as Sparta is on a scoring pass for Montana. And Sparta is through for 4 points for Montana.
Star almost able to get there, 1 to beat, and she does. So Star is through. Okay. Heard a whistle, was nervous that there might be a penalty coming. Oh, and there is, but it's to a Montana blocker.
So Star Platinum approaching on a scoring pass. Jam is called.
Yeah, so I think that's going to go 7. Yeah, it goes 7 for Montana.
So kind of a key jam there for Montana coming out of the Ohio timeout.
Right.
They've extended their lead to 156 to 121. We are under 4 minutes to play in the game.
So, yeah, at 12-18, it was a 5-point game, and since then, it's gone 23-3 in favor of Montana. That was the extended official review.
Yes.
Diva now jamming for Ohio. Foggy for Montana, and Foggy is through.
Yeah, Montana did a pretty good job locking up Diva there at the front of the pack. That gave Foggy time to get through. Foggy is out. Diva in hot pursuit. Pack stopped in turn 1 and 2. And jam is called by Foggy, but not before Devious Diva steals 4 points for Ohio.
Yeah, that was great. Foggy had lead jam. Diva tallies 4, and Foggy calls it off.
Yeah, Montana only gains 1, so maybe some hope for Ohio yet, though the clock is not their friend. 3 minutes to play.
Again, Ohio's got 2 timeouts remaining. Diva is back on the stripe. Timeout taken by Montana.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I mean, again, Montana has led the entire contest. They got out to a fast start at the beginning of the bout, through about the first 10 minutes of roller derby action. In fact, again, at the 16-minute mark, they led 48-16. Ohio came crawling back and, was able to tally points on almost every jam. Second half begins, and the difference is only 12. And again, Montana hits the accelerator, puts it to 100 to 64 in the first 6 minutes, and Ohio starts to come back and ran that streak of consecutive lead jammers in like 7 out of 8 jams to make it a 5-point contest. But Montana has reasserted itself on the strength of Foggy and Sparta, their 2 veteran jammers.
So team timeout is over. That timeout brought to you, as always, by 888 and 187 Killer Pads. Montana leads 157-125. 3 minutes even left in this game. Devious Diva back to the jammer line against Sparta. Pack moving glacially away from the jammer line.
Ohio doing a good job of swallowing up the Montana blocker, and they're bridging.
Sicko and Skankosaurus Lex unable to contain Sparta. Sparta is lead jammer for Montana.
Yeah, it took her 30 seconds to get there, but again, time and points not on Ohio's side. Devious Diva now escapes. And again, that might force a call-off. But again, Montana is going to let time run before the jammer calls it off. Coach Marone using a timeout.
There we go.
Again, the clock rolling on the scoreboard. He called it at 2:09. It's 2:03, 2:02, 2:01. Now called.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
go ahead.
that is the last full timeout for Ohio. Down 36 points with 2:01 remaining. Maybe a chance to get Diva back to the jammer line, or at least, get the jammer pairing you want.
Well, so yeah, we likely have 2 more jams, obviously,
Yes.
minimum, because
This
jam will, at its longest, will take the clock to 1 second left,
correct.
and it should actually be 2:09. But again,
Right.
we won't. we're all volunteers, but
Right.
we've got a really good view of both Coach Marone and the clock. Occasionally, we don't have a really good view of the start line.
Yeah.
All right, so
So.
Enemy Lou Harris comes out for Ohio. I'm going to say Foggy or Sparta because I can't see. Oh, it's Rolling Rogue. Of course it is.
All right. Blockers wedged against the jammer line. Rolling Rogue jam against Enemy Lou Harris. Jam is underway. Enemy Lou has made the most forward progress for Ohio. Surrounded by black jerseys.
Tara Holinu comes up to provide offensive
Yeah.
support.
So
Tara
that-
Holinu has just been amazing in the Ohio Pack.
So we are 30 seconds in. No lead jammer. Enemy Lou Harris.
Yes.
That's broken up by
Oh.
Tara Holinu. Enemy Lou Harris is out. Not lead jammer. So perhaps a no pass, no penalty situation.
but she's got the star in her hand and passes it to the pivot. This jam's going to run the full 2 minutes, Biff.
It is.
We're going to be at 1 second left when the time is over. So Enemy Lou Harris, if you've got
That's, yeah. Enemy Lou Harris is the jammer for Ohio.
Coco Sparks is wearing the pivot. And again, the
And-
danger of skaters wearing the star that don't always do it, and this is Special K has worn the star once as at a star pass, but has not jammed. You run the danger of this skater committing a jammer penalty. And
Indeed.
again, the lead fairly substantial for Montana. I don't think the outcome is in question.
I think Montana is showing confidence in their pack to contain Enemy Lou Harris. And maybe this is a bit of a strategic move by Montana to burn the clock.
Yeah,
And-
Enemy Lou Harris
yeah.
held up. Tara Holinu coming to provide offensive support. But
Yeah.
again, Coach Marone may or may not use that final official review and does.
Yes.
Yep.
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 So
So we're going to get one more
8.
if the clock operator is true to their task.
So yeah, Andy Maroon wasting no time calling for an official review to get perhaps, hopefully, for Ohio's sake, one more jam.
Yep, so Devious Diva will come out. 1 second left on the game clock.
So that 2-minute jam only yielded 4 points for Ohio.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Great defense there by Montana.
Really good, really good.
But again, neither jammer had lead in that situation.
Right. Yeah, Biff and I scored almost as many points as was scored by both of those teams in that final jam. Well, not final jam.
The penultimate jam.
Yep, now 1 second
Yes.
back on the clock, as it should be,
Yes.
or 9, but 1
Well,
second.
again. This is definitely the last jam of the game.
Yes. Yes. Ohio cannot stop the clock anymore. But yeah, hats off to Montana.
Yeah.
Led by Foggy and Sparta. and a very strong blocking lineup. They also played an amazingly clean game. Ohio
Right.
did too. Not a lot of penalties for either of these squads.
No, and I hate to invoke the announcer's curse here, but we haven't really had any jammer penalties this half.
Very few.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so, yeah, this official review has now seemingly been taken over by Montana because Ohio is using it as a timeout. But, yeah, this official review now in the 2 minutes and extended.
So
I'm going to go down,
Yes,
talk to our house
yeah.
friends.
see if they're arguing about.
See if we have an MVP
Yeah.
decision.
Okay. All right. So Kent is back after deliberating over the MVP.
Yeah, I think we'll wait
Okay.
to announce it, but we had to confirm with Montana skaters who had gotten it before, so to not to double dip. And it looks like we're about ready to get underway. Foggy versus Devious Diva. Both of these two could be the
Yes.
MVP for their respective teams.
Very true. Very true. And we are now on jam time only. Jam is underway.
Yep.
Pack moving glacially. Foggy escapes the pack first, is lead jammer for Montana.
And Foggy calls it off.
And Foggy will call the jam, end the game. Unofficial final score: Montana 161, Ohio 129. Another close, hard-fought game for Ohio, but Montana will ultimately walk away with 15th place in Skate Wars 2024.
So that I guess there's a jam of the game, and Devious Diva has won that, but the MVP is Foggy. So both of these jammers could have been the team MVP, and both are awarded something here on Championship Sunday, and both very well deserving, Biff.
Indeed, very true. Devious Diva's been big all weekend for Ohio. This is the first time I've seen Montana, but Foggy obviously very instrumental to their success.
Right.
Teams
So-
are coming around for their handshake laps.
Right, so again, you have just watched Montana in black secure 15th spot. They came in as the 7 team, but we've had a lot of movement in the rankings, and but you're going to have that because the rankings are a past performance and then roster shuffle. And Ohio coming around now in red. Ohio had an amazingly strong performance against all of their top 12 ranked opponents, having